It's easy to take your heart for granted. Day in and day out, it beats quietly in your chest steadily, faithfully keeping everything moving. It doesn't complain, it doesn't demand attention, and it rarely speaks up unless something is already going very wrong. But long before any kind of heart crisis, your body often gives off signs, small signs, easy to ignore signs. And yet, these may be your only warning that something's not quite right inside. That's why understanding the early clues your heart may be in trouble could be one of the most important things you ever do for your health. Imagine waking up one morning and feeling more tired than usual. Not the kind of tired that follows a poor night's sleep, but a deep, dragging exhaustion that seems to have no clear cause. You might brush it off as age, stress, or just a long week. But this kind of fatigue, especially when it lingers, is often your heart telling you that it's struggling to keep up. When your heart can't pump efficiently, your body doesn't get enough oxygen-rich blood. And one of the first things you lose is energy. Everyday tasks feel more demanding. Even getting through a normal day might start to feel like a marathon. Sometimes the signs come not as tiredness, but as a subtle tightness or discomfort in the chest. It might not be painful. It might not feel dramatic at all. Maybe it's a pressure, a sense of fullness, or a strange ache that comes and goes. These sensations are easy to ignore, especially if they don't seem severe. But chest discomfort, no matter how mild or inconsistent, is never something to overlook. The heart is located in the center of the chest, slightly to the left, and any unusual feeling in that region deserves attention, especially if it appears during physical activity or emotional stress. Other times, the warning shows up as breathlessness. You're not running a race, just climbing a flight of stairs, or maybe just walking across a room, and suddenly you find yourself struggling to catch your breath. Shortness of breath, especially when it comes on with mild exertion or when you're lying down, can indicate that the heart is not pumping blood effectively through the lungs. When the heart weakens, fluid can build up, making it harder to breathe deeply. Many people attribute this to aging or being out of shape, but if it's new, persistent, or worsening, it's worth taking seriously. Swelling in your legs, ankles, or feet might seem like a cosmetic issue or something related to standing too long. But fluid retention in the lower extremities is often a red flag. When your heart can't circulate blood efficiently, fluid leaks from your blood vessels and accumulates in your tissues. Your socks may leave deeper marks on your skin. Your shoes might feel tighter at the end of the day. You might even feel a heavy, bloated sensation in your legs. This isn't just about discomfort, it's a sign that your circulation is compromised. And your heart may be under more strain than you realize. Then there are the signs that seem completely unrelated to the heart, like nausea, indigestion, or a feeling of fullness that won't go away. These symptoms can mimic simple gastrointestinal issues, which is why they're so often misread. But the nerves in your chest and abdomen are closely connected, and sometimes, when the heart is in distress, the signals get crossed. Many people, especially women, report that their heart attack felt like intense heartburn or stomach pain. The key is to notice when these symptoms occur. If they come on suddenly, especially during physical activity or emotional distress, and aren't relieved by antacids or rest, they might be your heart's way of crying for help. Your heartbeat itself can also offer clues. You may feel it racing for no reason, skipping beats, or pounding harder than usual. These changes might happen suddenly or last for just a few seconds. But if they keep returning, it's not something to dismiss. Irregular heartbeats or arrhythmias can be harmless in some cases, but they can also signal serious underlying problems. They can increase your risk of stroke or lead to heart failure if left untreated. If you notice changes in your heartbeat that don't feel normal, that's your cue to check in with your doctor. Another subtle signal is lightheadedness or dizziness. Stand up too quickly and the room spins. You feel faint during exertion or even while sitting still. Your balance seems off, or your vision momentarily blurs. These aren't always signs of dehydration or low blood sugar. In many cases, they're tied to how well your heart is pumping blood to your brain. A momentary drop in blood pressure or a disruption in heart rhythm can leave you feeling off balance or spaced out. If these episodes happen regularly, they're worth investigating. What about pain or numbness in the arm, jaw, neck, or back? Most people know that pain radiating down the left arm can be a sign of a heart attack, but few realize that it doesn't always follow that classic path. For some, the pain appears in the jaw. For others, it's a strange aching in the upper back or a tingle that runs down the arm like pins and needles. These sensations, especially when paired with chest discomfort or breathlessness, are your body waving a red flag. And again, women are more likely to experience these atypical symptoms, which is why awareness matters so much. Your skin, too, can provide warning signs. If you notice that your skin is unusually pale, or if your lips and fingertips take on a bluish tint, that may indicate poor circulation. Your heart may not be delivering enough oxygen-rich blood to your tissues. Cold sweats, those sudden, clammy episodes that come out of nowhere, another classic sign that something's not right. It's not about being hot or exerting yourself. It gets your nervous system responding to distress within the body, trying to compensate for the heart's lack of output. And finally, there's the emotional and mental side. Some people report an overwhelming sense of anxiety, a sudden feeling of dread or doom, with no clear reason. This isn't just stress, it's a physiological response to changes in heart function. Your body knows something is wrong, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. You're feeling unusually anxious, especially if it comes with physical symptoms. Don't ignore it. When we talk about heart trouble, most people picture a dramatic moment. Sirens, flashing lights, a person collapsing it. It's the kind of image we've seen in movies and television so many times that it has become the expectation. But in real life, the heart doesn't always make a scene. More often, it starts quietly. A little fatigue here, some breathlessness there, a few skipped beats. And if you're not paying close attention, it's easy to miss what's really going on. One of the greatest challenges with heart disease is how easily it blends in with everyday life. Most of us are used to being tired, especially as we get older or if we lead busy, stressful lives. But when that fatigue becomes constant, when even a full night's rest doesn't restore your energy, it could be a sign that your heart is working overtime. And when the heart struggles, everything else begins to slow down too. You're not just tired. You're running on low power because your internal engine isn't delivering enough fuel. Many people write off their symptoms because they don't feel sick enough. They can still go to work, still do the chores, still function. So they tell themselves it's not a big deal. But functioning and thriving are two very different things. Just because you can push through docility mean you should ignore the signs your body is trying to send? The heart doesn't go from healthy to dangerous overnight. It usually declines over months or even years, offering warning after warning along the way. What's especially important to understand is that heart symptoms don't always present the same way for everyone. Some people will feel pressure in the chest, others might just feel more winded. Some may feel pain down their left arm, while others feel tightness in their jaw or nausea that won't go away. And because these signs are so varied, many people don't make the connection. They end up treating the wrong problem: digestive issues, muscle pain, or even anxiety, while the heart continues to struggle in the background. That's why timing and context are key. If you notice a symptom during or after a physical activity like walking upstairs or carrying groceries, that's a signal worth paying attention to. Likewise, if you notice new symptoms when you're lying down at night, like shortness of breath or a need to prop yourself up with extra pillows, that could indicate that your heart is having difficulty managing fluid and circulation while you're at rest. These clues often appear in patterns, and recognizing those patterns can be life-saving. Family history also plays a bigger role than most people realize. If you have close relatives who've experienced heart problems, high blood pressure, or stroke, especially at younger ages, your own risk increases significantly. That doesn't mean you're doomed, but it does mean you need to be more vigilant. Combine that with other risk factors like smoking, diabetes, obesity, or a sedentary lifestyle, and your chances of developing heart disease rise quickly. And yet, even with these known risks, Many people don't seek regular screenings or blood work. They assume they're fine because they feel fine. But feeling fine isn't the same as being healthy. Some of the most serious heart conditions develop silently. High blood pressure, for instance, is called the silent killer for a reason. It often has no symptoms, yet over time it damages your blood vessels, strains your heart, and increases your risk of stroke and heart failure. The only way to know if your blood pressure is high is to measure it regularly. And the same goes for cholesterol. You can't feel high cholesterol, but you can feel the effects once plaque starts building in your arteries and cutting off blood supply. People often delay medical attention because they fear the answer. But ignoring the signs doesn't make them go away, just gives the problem more time to grow. And the truth is, many heart issues can be managed or even reversed if caught early. Medications, lifestyle changes, and ongoing monitoring can make a world of difference. But you can't treat a problem you haven't acknowledged. Taking that first step, scheduling a checkup, getting blood work, talking to a doctor about your symptoms, might feel intimidating, but it's far less scary than a medical emergency. And it could mean the difference between a life interrupted and a life prolonged. It's also worth thinking about how stress fits into all of this. Chronic stress doesn't just affect your mind, it affects your body too. When you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which raise your blood pressure and heart rate. Over time, this wears down the cardiovascular system. You might not feel the damage as it's happening, but the effects accumulate. Add poor sleep, emotional fatigue, and a lack of self-care to the mix. And you've created the perfect environment for heart disease to take hold. But here's the hopeful part. Your heart is incredibly resilient. It responds to care, to changes, to kindness. Even if you've ignored the signs before, even if you've made choices you regret, it's not too late. Every small change, adding more movement into your day, improving your diet, managing your stress, cutting back on salt, quitting smoking helps to strengthen your heart and lower your risk. And just as important as what you do for your own heart is what you encourage in others. If you notice someone in your life constantly tired, short of breath, or experiencing swelling, don't hesitate to speak up. It might be nothing, but it might also be everything. Sometimes we're better at recognizing danger in the people we love than we are in ourselves. So, talk about it. Share what you know. Encourage them to see a doctor. It could be the reason someone you care about catches a heart condition before it becomes an emergency. Because when it comes to the heart, silence is not golden. It's risky. The more we talk about these signs, honestly, and without fear, the more lives we can protect. Now that we've taken a close look at the ways your heart may be quietly asking for help, it's time to talk about what happens next. Because awareness alone is powerful, but it's not enough. The true strength lies in action, steady, committed action that builds over time. You don't need a dramatic transformation or a complete overhaul of your life. What you need is a willingness to listen to your body, to take your symptoms seriously, and to make choices today that your future self will be grateful for. Let's begin with the basics. Paying attention. In a world that rewards productivity and staying busy, many people push through discomfort without a second thought. But your body isn't trying to slow you down for no reason. When something feels off, whether it's sudden fatigue, unusual swelling, a racing heart, or persistent breathlessness, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. It's your heart saying, hey, I'm working harder than I should be. Yeah. And in most cases, your heart has been saying it for a while. The question is whether you're ready to start listening. The beauty of early intervention is that it buys you times, sometimes years of extra health, mobility, and energy. When you act early, your options are more varied and less invasive. Simple blood tests can reveal elevated cholesterol or blood sugar levels. A routine blood pressure check might uncover hypertension that you didn't know you had. These numbers aren't just statistics on a chart, they're signposts on your journey, showing where you are and how to get back on track. It's also important to understand that progress doesn't mean perfection. You can have days where your choices aren't ideal and still be moving in the right direction. What matters is consistency. taking your medications regularly if they're prescribed, choosing whole foods over processed ones when you can, carving out even 15 to 30 minutes a day to walk, stretch, or move your body in ways that feel good. These small acts of care add up over time and ease the load your heart has to carry. And don't underestimate the power of routine. Healthy habits work best when they're woven into your everyday life. Drinking more water, eating a heart-smart breakfast, getting to bed a little earlier, these aren't huge sacrifices, but they can make a huge difference. Your heart responds to stability. It thrives when you treat it kindly, day after day, with the quiet discipline of someone who's made up their mind to stay well. One area that's often overlooked is emotional health. We tend to think of the heart purely in physical terms, blood flow, arteries, pulse, but it's deeply connected to how we feel. Chronic stress, loneliness, grief, or anxiety don't just affect your mood. They wear down your cardiovascular system. They tighten your blood vessels. They increase inflammation. They disrupt your sleep, your appetite, your motivation to exercise or eat well. So tending to your emotional life, whether it's through therapy, connection with friends, spiritual practice, or time spent in nature, is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's also worth mentioning how technology can help. Today, wearable devices can monitor your heart rate, track your sleep, and even alert you to abnormal rhythms. They don't replace medical care, but they do give you insight, real-time feedback that can help you notice changes sooner. If your heart rate seems unusually high at rest, or you're not getting the deep sleep you need, it might be time to investigate. These digital tools are like extra ears, helping you listen more closely to your body's signals. But sometimes, the hardest part is not listening, it's believing. Believing that what you're feeling isn't just in your head, that your concerns are valid, and that taking action is worth it. Too many people delay care because they don't want to be seen as dramatic, weak, or overly cautious. But there's nothing weak about choosing life. There is nothing dramatic about protecting your health. If anything, it's one of the most responsible and courageous things you can do. It's also an act of love for yourself and for the people who care about you. Your family, your friends, your community, they all want you around, healthy and strong. Every step you take to support your heart is a step toward being there longer for the people who matter most. Whether that's seeing your grandchildren grow up, traveling with your partner, or simply living without constant fatigue and discomfort, it all starts with recognizing the signs and responding to them. If you've listened this far, chances are you're already on the path. You've made a decision, consciously or not, that your heart health matters. And that decision has the power to change your life. Maybe you'll book that checkup you've been putting off. Maybe you will finally mention that weird pressure you've felt in your chest to your doctor. Maybe you'll start going for walks again, cooking at home more, or just taking more time to rest and recharge. Any of those steps would be a victory, because any action is better than waiting. And here's the most hopeful part of all. The body wants to heal. It's built to recover, to adapt, to respond, to care. Even if your heart has been strained, even if you've ignored symptoms in the past, there is almost always a way forward. New medications, lifestyle shifts, and modern cardiac care are more effective than ever. Survival rates improve every year for people who act early, get treatment, and stay involved in their own care. So don't wait for the pain to become unbearable. Don't wait for the collapse, the ambulance, or the emergency room. Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's serious. Trust what you feel. If something seems off, it probably is. And the sooner you respond, the more power you have. Your heart has carried you through everything, every stress, every joy, every disappointment, every memory. It's been with you every second of your life. It deserves your attention. It deserves your care. And if it's whispering to you now through fatigue, shortness of breath, swelling, pain, or even subtle changes in mood or sleep, please don't ignore it. Because in the end, the most dangerous symptom of heart disease isn't chest pain, it's silence. And the most powerful form of prevention is awareness paired with action. So listen closely, respond early, and take care of the only heart you'll ever have. Because a stronger heart doesn't just mean a longer life, it means a better one.